Hey guys, today I am reviewing the ANNT 5-meter SMD RGB 5050 waterproof LED strip light. And so you can see it comes in this nice static proof bag here, and a little information there. So let's open it up and dig in. Right here we've got the LED strip. The nice things about this setup is it does actually come with the power supply as well as the controller. Other similar listings sometimes will just come with the LED strips. Some even come with the controller, but not all of them come with a power supply as well. And this one is actually a 5 amp power supply, and that's that's pretty significant. One of the things that's helpful to know about this strip is that it has a maximum rating output of 72 watts. Usually 50/50 LEDs are about 0.2 watts per LED. Multiply that by 300 in a 5-meter strip, and you get about 60 watts. 60 watts divided by 12 volts is 5 amps. That's why there's a 5 amp supply, and it should be sufficient to light the full supply. If you want to daisy chain them together, you'll have to find something that has more amps to it. It would be another 12 volt, 10 amp, 15, 20 amp, all the way up to 30 amp. There's even 40 amp power supplies. Those are a little bit more tricky and definitely not as plug and play. I've worked with some of those things as well. So this is nice and simple, but as you can see, power supply, easy connection, hooking those together and everything. The remote is a little bit nicer than a lot of them that I've seen. It's a 44 key remote, so you have all your colors, plus some different shades and iterations of those colors. It also has brightness controls, and then there's program, you can power on and off with this. There's program controls, and you can turn up how much our red, green, blue is in a color. So if you just want to make minor adjustments, you can do that with those. There's also a couple different programs built in, and so you can run these different programs. Because this is just RGB dumb pixel, or basically dumb node SMD 5050 strip, it's just going to all be one color, but there are different types of programs that help with that. This may be programmable with this DIY, I'm not positive, but the jump and fade patterns are the things that are probably the most helpful. And you can choose 3, and then you can make it faster, you can make it slower. You can do fade, so that's just going to gradually fade between the different colors smoothly, and again, faster, slower. Auto will choose a setting, and then flash is more of like a strobe setting. So of course, if you're going to run it, take the battery thing out, and then there is a replaceable battery, a CR2025 battery. Controller itself is just a simple dimmer, and there is an IR sensor here, so that's what the remote will point to. If for some reason you're not getting it to work, you just want to make sure that IR sensor is available and visible. It does come with a user manual for the IR controller. It has a little bit of information about the specifications, the wattage of the power supply. This is just the layout of the remote in a table. And then there's a connection diagram in case you prefer using something like that. Let's take a quick look at the LEDs themselves, LED strip itself. It has a 4-pin red, green, blue, and ground. The black is ground, and that's what runs to these. You can see that they're only about probably 3/4 of an inch apart, and that makes for a pretty good balance, a pretty good brightness. These are a lot brighter than some that you'll see at, say, 150 watts per 5 meters, because basically it's double the LEDs. You can cut these on these leads right here. You see a little, sorry, I can't for some reason focus. Let me see if I can do a manual focus here. Okay, there we go. Don't have a macro lens on here, so that doesn't help right now. So as I focus, you can see the 12 volts, green, red, and blue rails in the different leads, and so they can be cut, and then they can be joined. A couple things to note is there's some nice quick connectors that allow you to slide the strip underneath on each side and then clamp down, and those are nice and simple, but you will have to peel back some of this waterproof layer that you can kind of see there. So you can see this adhesive type material here. You'll have to, once you cut here, you can kind of use your fingernail and get in between the LED strip and the waterproofing, peel it back to, you know, just before the LED, and then you can cut it off with some wire cutters. But don't cut the strip anywhere except for on these leads, or you're going to have some problems. And then if you are cutting the strip, make sure you don't cut in between the leads, only on the leads. Otherwise, you will have dead pixels, at least in that section that you cut. These can be chained together with others of the sorts. Like I mentioned earlier, they just connect into these. They connect together like this. And you will just want to make sure that the colors match up blue to blue. There are arrows as well. There you see those, there's arrows. Those show you where they can match up. And then this little male to male end is interchangeable. You can take it in and out and use it at different points if you need to. So not the best connectors as far as stability goes, but if you do stick them together in a situation where you need them to stay, you can tape around them, make sure that they hold. But yeah, these are great strips. I've used similar ones before, and we'll plug them in, test it, and see how it looks. As you see, got it connected. You've got your 3-conductor PC cable connected to your power supply, connected to the DC part of this controller. And then the controller with its little IR sensor is connected to the LED strip. And one of the things to note on that is that there are these little arrows that show this is where they're supposed to connect. So you want to make sure that those arrows line up, because if they don't, it won't work properly. And so I've already plugged it in, checked it out, but with your remote, you can point at that IR sensor and choose, first of all, just power on. And as you can see, it has, currently it's set to just a jump mode. So I can change it. If I hit jump 3, that's about where it's at. Jump 7 is a little bit faster. Can hit the slow down button, and it slows down significantly. Speed up, so I keep pushing that, pointing at the IR sensor. You can see how quickly it can go. Fade, actually, I think I just pushed the flash. Yep, that's the flash one. So you can slow down the flash, speed up the flash, so the strobe that way. Fade 3 looks like that. And again, you can slow it down. You can speed it up. This is probably the most fitting in most environments. If you want color changing, is just to use the fade and then find a nice smooth thing. One of the things you'll notice in the video is that there's a little bit of flicker with LEDs like this, and that's fairly normal on video, just in these kinds of situations. You can also just choose a color, so pressing red, pressing green, pressing blue, pressing white. A lot of times white looks a little bluish, and it looks more so in the video than it does in real life. Basically, white is just a mixture of red, green, and blue all together. So this is going to be the brightest light that it can produce because it's all of the LEDs in it lit up. 50/50, by the way, stands for 0.50 millimeter or 0.50 centimeter LEDs, and so that's just the size of them is half a centimeter. And 0.50 times, by 0.50. Okay, so I can also change the brightness, dim that down if I want, pretty significantly. So that's nice. Have a little bit more control. Lots of different color combinations and possibilities. Right now I have the dimness all the way down, but see what that is all the way up. And the different shades of the colors as I go down the spectrum. Blue, and it gets gradually more towards violet, and then white going towards like a cyan color, I suppose. So yeah, and then if you wanted to add a little bit of red to it, You can do that with these. You can turn down the blue, I believe. That's what I believe they're there for. So far I'm not seeing that work in the coloration. So DIY, these are these buttons. DIY 2, DIY 3, DIY 4. Nothing seems to be changing in those. My guess is that I could set a color and then hold DIY maybe and set a color. I don't know, trying that. Oh, I see. DIY allows for you then. So now I'm changing, once I choose DIY, I'm able to change the color with the arrow buttons. So I've turned green all the way off. If I go DIY 2, I'm going to turn blue all the way off. It's very slowly changing, as you can see. So that's with blue all the way off. It's yellow, obviously, red and green together. So if I press DIY 1, it's been programmed to what I just set it to, and now DIY 2 is set to the yellow that I just programmed. If I hit DIY 3 and I take the red all the way out, I'll end up with a cyan. The green and blue together is cyan. And then, so I go DIY 4 and go back to DIY 3, it'll be that color. So if you have go-to colors that you like, or for certain reasons, you can build those. First you push the DIY button, and then you do the adjustments, the micro adjustments here. From what I can tell, I could be wrong, but say I do DIY 5 and then I choose this purple and then go to a different one. It doesn't look like that programs it. You actually have to do the micro adjustments of the arrows. So lots of details there, maybe more than you need, but hopefully that's a little bit helpful. As with others, it's marked with like a 3M tape, but as I'm pulling it off, it's actually taking the adhesive off with the adhesive cover. So if you don't want that to happen, you have to do it pretty carefully and try to work with it so that the adhesive stays with your LED tape. I can tell you right now that if you want long-term staying power from an adhesive, the built-in adhesive tape is just rarely the best choice. So I'd recommend something different that can get you more the desired results. From what I hear, super glue, hot melt glue seems to be the best option. It just depends on what you're applying to and everything. So keep those things in mind. There's also some other types of kind of holders. There we go. So I got that adhesive tape to stay down, and I can peel that off for the most part. But again, I wouldn't count on it 100%. One thing to note is that although this is, quote, waterproof, so this is probably an important thing to say, though this is said to be waterproof, I want to point out something. Just like you see the leads here on the back, underneath the adhesive you see more leads here. Now, water between electronic leads while electricity is flowing through them is not the best thing. And since this adhesive and this tape isn't 100% waterproof, it's not likely you should submerge this. It is rated IP65, meaning that it's water resistant. Really, it can can get a little bit of rain water maybe on it, but if you are going to be putting it outside or in some sort of situation where the possibility of water getting in it is happening, I'd encourage definitely some sort of other adhesive like a silicone or something that can really protect the back and the leads there, and really even the sides. So really consider that. If you're going to do immersive, you're going to put it underwater for something, buy a strip that's IP68 or better, and that will allow you to use it in water situations. So I wouldn't recommend this underwater. And you can even see the connections here, though you have heat tape over it, and you probably have a little bit of adhesive and tape over the leads on this end. It's still not incredibly safe to try to have this part underwater, and definitely obviously not this part with the metal and everything that's going on in there. So that will be helpful for some of you who maybe get that confused. So overall, nice little package, an okay price, maybe not the cheapest out there, but it's nice when they include the power supply. So hope that helps you. If it does, make sure and make a note of that below.